can invite people to use less plastic, and then they don't.
Yeah.
Just the small things, like if they're using disposables, like what I wrote to her was, it breaks my heart when I see the indigenous, they're doing their ceremonies at the fire, and then they're like putting it in plastic, and I'm like, they're
putting
like
plastic in the fire.
Like, no, not in the fire, but they're like have all their stuff in plastic, like plastic bag, like they had a grocery outlet bag promoting that, and then just like their fruits wrapped in plastic, and I'm like, oh my god, I'm like, oh my goodness, it breaks my heart, Or they have I'm like recording this, they're like, let's protect water, and then there's like the crystal geyser water bottle right beside it. I can't.
I mean, they're just a victim of what is happening in this world, where their chemicals are like imposing their product on everyone and making it a cultural thing where it's the easiest and we don't even think about it.
Mm-hmm.
And it's almost like there's just like insidiously sliding this into like everything that we're doing, and it seems so harmless.
Yeah, because you don't think about it. But then we find these studies that like there's like microplastic in all sperm now or something like that, and like that was awful. Really shocking. That just came out recently, right? That study.
Yeah.
So we don't need to be making all of our products with plastic. That's number one. It's just like actually taking a step back and like rethinking.
Yeah.
As your organization is called ReThink Disposable, like, can we actually rethink disposable now?
Yeah. I mean, this is a little bit off topic, but I was just like, I was watching this bus drive by and it said 0 emissions on it. And it said all electric. And I always have this, and I just recently listened to this piece on cobalt mining and how there was an opportunity. In my mind, I know this is a very naive like thought process, but there was an opportunity for the poorest people to actually make some money off of this whole like electrifying our cities, but instead they're just being completely like their livelihood is completely obliterated, because now they're just basically like slave labor mining the cobalt so that we can have our electric cars and our cell phones and like all the stuff that like that makes life so easy and convenient.
Yeah. I was watching I've seen those documentaries when I was in Toronto a few years ago of like just like the e-waste in Africa, and it's so depressing seeing the kids like working and slave labor. It's horrible. I'm
kind of going through a midlife crisis where I'm wondering, like, is this what I'm going to shift to? Is like worker rights. So, but if we wanted to talk more about ReThink, there was stuff where like right now, a lot, like this is just like Grace talking also, and not like the person like working in ReThink a little bit.
Well, I just want to introduce us again. Yeah, well, I'm here with you, Grace Lee, amazing. I'm Glo Moss, and we're here behind Culver City Hall, and I think it's really synchronistic that we're here. I didn't even know this was here because Culver City was the first to implement a ban, like a law of requiring restaurants to have reusables and dine-in-ware a few years ago. And I made a video about that, and I was super excited. And then I went to all of LA County, and I think that's when you were working on or received your $1 million grant to work with restaurants to provide reusables. So
well,
you want to touch on that a little bit.
Yeah, absolutely. So I think the first city in the U.S. to ever pass a reusables for dine-in law was actually the city of Berkeley. And then there is some talk that it actually might have been the town of San Anselmo that beat Berkeley to it. So that is all kind of like the insider gossip or whatever. But and the $1 million grant is actually a program that is part of City of LA's sanitation department program. And so they this is their inaugural year of starting $1 million mini grant program for reusable foodware. So it wasn't $1 million to ReThink. We just we played a part in advising how to develop and implement the program. But there are amazing people that are working on it. There's Aptim, that's an environmental engineering firm, and also the Bay Foundation. That and both of those groups are doing like on the ground business engagement and talking to businesses. So the whole purpose of it was to create these case studies, to see how reuse is being kind of folded into small businesses in the city of LA. So they started in these communities called Clean Up, Green Up neighborhoods, where it's a part of, I don't know, I guess it'd be part of like city ordinance that they're designated as being heavily impacted by multi-use in the city. So they're near factories, they're near transportation corridors. So there's a lot of air pollution, there's a lot of like water pollution that happens in these areas. So we started the program in 4 Clean Up, Green Up neighborhoods: Coima, South LA, Boyle Heights, and Wilmington. And so that's where it was piloted for a few months, and then seeing the success of it happening in those neighborhoods, then the entire city of LA was able to apply for these mini grants to then purchase their reusable foodware for these restaurants.
Because you were implementing dish systems and reusables in the restaurants. So you're providing. Yeah. Were you buying the dishes and then bringing them to the restaurants?
Yes.
And then how does the dish system work? Do you have to do assessments of where it could be implemented, or do they already have dish systems, or how does that part work?
Yeah. So Aptum and the Bay Foundation, so they're the outreach team. So what happened was that they connected with all of the restaurants in these 4 neighborhoods and basically recruited interest. So if you were a restaurant that was interested in getting rid of all your single-use, mostly plastic, a lot of styrofoam, and you wanted to switch to reusables, then you'd say, yes, I want to sign up. And then you filled out this online form, and someone from Aptum or the Bay Foundation would come and actually do a needs assessment with the restaurant. Like, okay, you're serving your dine-in customers in styrofoam clamshells. Why don't we get you some ceramic or stoneware plates and bowls and mugs and glasses and things like that to serve dine-in guests instead of all of the takeout packaging.
Nice.
Yeah.
That's amazing.
Yeah.
We need that. Yeah. So needed.
Yeah. It's an amazing program. So we're hoping to get a second round to do even more restaurants, and then hopefully be able to focus on large events in LA. So there's a couple of markets in LA that we have our eye on, and one of them actually that participated this year is called Mercado La Paloma, where we were going to be, but next time we should definitely go there. Mm-hmm. So that Mercado is an entrepreneurial hub for new immigrants that want to start restaurants in Los Angeles. And they also provide jobs for new immigrants as well. And the woman, Nancy Halpern, she's executive director of Esperanza Housing. I forget their whole name, but she basically is the mother of this organization. And so she provides, as a nonprofit, she provides advice to these new businesses, what permits do you need to get? Who do you need to talk to start a restaurant? Where do you get all the your foodware and your food? And
that would be so cool to have a program where we this is what Oceanic Global and the Blue Standard does, but they have consultants to work with restaurants to reduce their use of plastic, provide alternatives, provide better products. But it would be so cool to actually open restaurants zero waste, have a program that they can go through this training,
right?
So that they can okay, where are the local independent makers of these products? How can we do farm to table? Have all these systems set up so that these new people can also build restaurants that are completely zero waste and also supporting the local industries of the local farms.
Right. So it's just plug and play.
Yeah. So it's a template. I feel we need more templates and just be able to integrate them.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Where there's about 10 case studies that are going to be coming out of that project.
Nice.
So there'll be a little bit more of this
And you guys didn't do any filming?
Well, let's see, what did we do? We had 4 press events.
Okay. But it would be really cool to document the process, like
it would be
like for training, so then you can have that for the next season, the next chapter, and then have more people come on, you know?
Yeah.
And not for training and marketing.
Yeah, yeah. We actually, so we also right now we're working on a NOAA grant that is wrapping up soon at the end of September. But we've been working on this for about a year and a half. And so this has allowed us to expand outside of California where we were really active. Mm-hmm. So ReThink started in San Francisco, and we've been really active in Northern California. When I moved to LA, that's when we started working with the sanitation department with the city of LA. But the NOAA grant has allowed us to actually launch regional ReThink programs in other states, so 6 other states in the U.S.
Yeah, so you have like a map that's like all over. That's
yeah.
Cool. There was like about over 400 businesses, right?
Yeah, so we almost have worked with 600 businesses and 40 institutions. So meaning like more complex businesses, so including schools and like Mercado La Paloma, and like food justice nonprofits. There's one in Minneapolis that we're working with. Yeah. So it's been an amazing journey because everyone has their own flavor of how they do ReThink.
Yeah.
So in Philadelphia, Mercedes Forsyth, she's the ReThink person there, and she's been working more with like independent mom and pop restaurants. Nice. In some of the like poorest neighborhoods of Philadelphia.
That's so nice.
Yeah, so that's a really amazing one. And then Marta Young, she's our New Jersey person, and so her thing, she's doing a lot of skip the stuff ordinances, and she has pages of townships in New Jersey that she's working with to pass skip the stuff ordinances. So that's just accessories upon request.
Were you part of that Open with Reuse campaign for restaurants?
Yes, yeah. I worked with Cassie.
Okay, cool.
Okay.
Oh, nice.
Yeah.
Cassie from Oceanic Global?
Yeah, when she was at Oceanic Global.
Oh, cool. Amazing.
Yeah.
That's amazing. Yeah, I love that because like it was just like made the kind of the seed of like, you know, awakening people to like be like, oh well, 150 health professionals are actually signing this to say that, you know, reusables are safe and friendly and, you know, and non-toxic. And so it was a really good, I think, opening to step into this new realm of, you know, implementing these for restaurants. I'm curious to know what, like, I think I met you through Reusable LA, and also I think I've seen you, you've been on Upstream. Have you been on Upstream before? On the Reuse Network, National Reuse Network. They have really cool models and like images of like how big the reuse economy can be.
Yeah.
And I'm just wondering if you've like thought about these systems at all, because I think like I haven't seen many like actual templates, but like using the infrastructure that we have for recycling, but turning that into a reuse economy, turning that into a reusable system, and having like resource centers to like move around materials.
Yeah.
Have you thought about this?
Yes, absolutely. Yeah. So we've developed some really cool relationships with third-party like reuse companies, like these nascent companies that right now are gaining, I think, a lot of traction because the interest is there. I think there are some barriers to this, and so the cost is one of them, but definitely like setting up infrastructure so that it's easy for people to participate in reuse. Mm-hmm. Yeah, and so we recently applied to another grant that, fingers crossed, we get it, because this would be a game changer for ReThink. One of our main partners is Society of Native Nations, and they do this amazing program in San Antonio, Texas, where they invite families that are like just really stressed out, like they're disabled or they're single parents or they're elderly or they're confronting a lot of like stress just in general, and they invite the families to come to this program called Return to the Earth and Mold It, where they create their own vessels, like cups and bowls and plates, and they get to take those home. And so that is
they create their own. How do they create it?
Just from clay, so it's pretty much
clay.
like
Cool.
ceramics basically.
Wow,
Yeah.
that's so cool.
Yeah.
Nice. Yeah.
And so they're taking part in creating their own reuse system, but then they're also taken away from the stresses of home. And Society of Native Nations uses this program also as a healing, a ritual kind of, or like just like time to heal and time to bond with family. Wow. So if we get this grant, we'll be working with Society of Native Nations to modify the program so that we can bring it to places like LA or wherever we have ReThink programs, but using the like endemic materials of that place. Mm-hmm. So maybe in some places it would not be clay, it would be straw or, like just different materials. Cool. Yeah. So we're hoping...
Have you seen the gourd? Like
yes.
Like I love, my friend makes those.
Yes.
Just like herself. Yeah.
Yeah.
So cool.
It's amazing. Yeah.
So awesome.
My grandmother had a bunch of those at our house.
Nice.
Yeah.
The bamboo shells are really cool in Costa Rica too, like the coconut shells for like cups, for like bowls.
Yeah, right. I mean, because one thing is like, so we're hoping to use these workshops as a way to get people to care about reuse, and then simultaneously you build the infrastructure so that they can participate in reuse. And it's not going to be everyone that cares about reuse. There's some people that do it because it's what someone gives to them. Yeah. Or it's just like it's the same as how the petrochemical industry has made stuff really easy, so we don't even think about it. So if we did that with reuse and we swap it out, it's just the Indiana Jones swap of the thing on the pedestal. So really,
one of the things that was really cool that you shared with me last time, and I shared it in my presentation at LIB, was that like restaurants are saving money.
Yes.
Like up to $22,000 a year on switching from stopping to use disposables to starting to use reuse.
Yeah.
And dine anywhere. So that's really cool.
Yeah.
I think people were like interested in that because I feel like people haven't really thought about that way of thinking, of like actually it can save us money, even for festivals too. I think it's a really good way. Like I think that the green money, like the green system can also be built on like, let's educate the vendors on don't buy more disposables. Like let's put that into a reusable system. Right. Instead of wasting all this money in disposables.
Right. Yeah. I definitely wanted to ask you about cost, how you've been able to do it at festivals and where like the price difference is so big.
Yeah. I mean, the only one I know is like the two, like I haven't seen it being done like that, like have that business model of like working with the vendors to reduce it. The only models I've worked with is my friend Dawn. She has a reusable system in Austin, and she actually gifted her time with her reuse. But she's working with also film sets in Austin to do reuse and do zero waste system. So that's really cool.
Oh, that's awesome. Okay,
And then the one in Vision Festival, I think they just budgeted into their system. Like they serve 10,000 people.
Oh my gosh, on all reuse?
Yeah, all the vendors are cups and bowls and forks. So you just you have a dish ticket, and the people pay a fee, a $5 fee.
Okay.
When they're first buying their first meal, and then they can reuse that, so they have a ticket back.
Okay.
And then they go to the vendor, give it the ticket, and then when they're done, you bring it to the discoteca where everyone's washing the dishes.
Oh, nice.
Yeah, but I would like to see them have more resources because it's underfunded and there's not like the volunteers work too many hours and and so and there's only two dish systems, so I think having more infrastructure, and also I'd love to add more education into the program, and I am talking to someone who's working in that area, education to the vendors, and so people actually care. I haven't posted my video yet. I have a video of me I'm at the sunrise set picking up all the reusables, and then I'm picking this tower of reusables.
Yes, I've done that with our World Cups, walking around the festival, collecting people's used cups.
Yeah, so funny. But so I haven't seen the best models yet. I think that we're still in steps forward, and I would love to see more businesses be built around that and provide those systems in California. Yeah, because there's so many events and festivals. We need to And then, like we said, we were talking about like being able to sell them. Like we can brand these cups for events, especially especially also in Miami, or like these new tech events, and like
Yes.
in the world of crypto and finance and all these things, like they're spending a lot of money, and I'm like, they have a marketing budget to spend on marketing, and it's a good way to market. It's like having your reusable cup with your brand on it,
right?
So also providing that value of like the opportunity,
right?
I think it's like let's keep our air, land, and water clean while providing like a memorable item for people, while marketing, because then you see it and you have your logo,
right?
It,
Yeah. So my question is, for those situations, like exactly which system would work in certain circumstances. So so some there's like the plastic cups, reusable, so it's polypropylene plastic cups, there's stainless steel, and then for events, I think we can cancel out glass, because you can't really do glass at events. So there's a lot of like just I think conjecture on if there's value in switching to reusable cups that are plastic, or do we figure out a way now to switch to like stainless steel? So in those cases, it's like if it's a memorabilia, I know there are some like reuse companies that say like once you put a logo on it, then that is something that people want to take home. So you kind of have to make it like ugly in a way so people don't want it.
No, I mean, why would you make it ugly? You want to make it beautiful so people want to purchase it.
That's true. But if people purchase it and they bring it home, then you would have to bring it back next time.
Why?
So like to like keep it in the system.
If they're going, well, you could have two parts of the system. You can have one part that's like part of the vending. Like for example, do we have cups? We do have cups at Envision. Yeah, I'm trying to remember. And so they do have the plastic cups and the bowls, but having those available.
Yeah.
It's almost 1:30.
I know.
We're gonna have to wrap this up. Having them available on both scales, so having like it integrated into the system and also for purchase. So when you buy